In this video, I'm going to show you how to use this teacher view spreadsheet template. This is great for things like student reflections or self-assessments or any kind of ongoing student reflection. You might be tempted to use a Google Doc for this kind of thing, as it's more natural to reflect in. The reason I'm going to encourage you to consider a spreadsheet is that it gives the teacher an easy way to see an entire set of class data at one time. So if you have a student template in which, let's say, they're reflecting on a variety of items here, it says, you've got some set of things they reflect on each day. The students fill in the data here. So data like that. And the teacher then can take a view where for each student, they could look at either the row or the column at a time. So for example, in this case, if I choose the first column, I'll get that across all the days for all of my students. Or if my rows in this case represented days, I could look at all the columns in just day one, and I'd see my whole class list here once I've set this up for real. So I'm going to show you how I go about doing this. The instructions are here. The first step is to make a copy of this document. So in my case, I'm going to make one called Advisory Reflections 26. All right. And I'm going to get a new copy of the same document. All right. Now, the goal is going to be that I'm going to put my advisory list down here. If you already had advisory folders, for example, if you were using Doctopus, you could put those there. For this demo, I'm actually just going to include a few fake accounts, but I will do this for my real advisory shortly. So there's 3 fake accounts. I made my mistake there. All right, so out of the box, this will just use my title of the spreadsheet for the title of the new spreadsheet. So it's going to say Advisory Reflections. Then for my student template, I'm going to see if this might meant to do this. It is beautiful. I can go ahead and get the formatting looking just the way I want it here. You could do any kind of fiddling you want now, because once it's shared with students, you won't be able to re-fiddle. It might be worth making sure if I type in a longer thing, will this work as a paragraph? Yeah, so I have laid this out so that longer things will wrap automatically. So your students can do that. If you think your students are going to write too little, it could help to, select all. Got a little more space to write, they can type into each of these documents. Lovely. The sample teacher view. So this now looks like I want it to look. In other words, I can either look at one question over the weeks for all my students, or I can look at 1 week over the questions for all my students. That's going to be the sample view. The live view is currently blank because there are no sheets. So once the sheets get created, the live view will populate. All right, so I've updated the template, checked out the teacher view. In my case, I don't have folder keys. If you had a Doctopus roster, you could copy in the folder keys from that Doctopus roster, and that would make my script automatically drop your new spreadsheets into that Doctopus folder that your students had. All right, and then to actually create these spreadsheets, I'm going to run the script generate student templates. Now I do that from this teacher view menu. That is here because this is a special spreadsheet you copied. You couldn't, that actually came with a script. And I'm going to click generate student sheets. That's going to pop up something that asks for authorization. You're going to go ahead and authorize this script to manage your files and spreadsheets. That's what lets it make the copies and put them in the right folders. And now the script will run. It's going to create a new master folder where everything gets dropped, and it creates the 3 spreadsheets. Those IDs are how it recognizes the spreadsheets. Beautiful. Now in the live teacher view, you're going to see this error here, and that's because you have to explicitly tell Google that you're linking these spreadsheets. So here I'm just going to click allow access, allow access, allow access. Okay, the row-wise one works successfully. So week 1, I'm seeing my planning. Week 2, I had nothing. I'm not sure what is wrong with this. Oh, going well wasn't a thing. There we go. It did work, I just didn't select the new values. So what are you working on would now show me in week 1 I was working on this, and so on and so forth. If you want to turn on wrapping, that might make it easier to read the whole sheet at once. Okay, so now that it's all done, let's take a look again. I can choose any question, and I can look at for each of my students, what was their answer for each week to that question, and that will just go all the way out as far as my spreadsheet goes, to week 35 in this case. Alternatively, I can select by row, which in this case is week, and I could say for any given week, what are my students working on? Beautiful thing about this is you can actually see it update live. Let's see if I can. I'm going to pull out 2 windows here so that you can appreciate this. So this is the window we're watching, that what would you like to accomplish? And let me show you, if you've got a classroom full of kids, as the kids type, here's the student typing. Next week I need to have all my courses planned. The minute they hit return, it's going to pop into that other document. There it is. I didn't have to click anything. So if you've got your whole advisory or class working on this kind of thing, I need help now. You can actually watch those things pop in. So as the teacher, you can see Finkel has filled out everything, but these other 2 students haven't done a thing. And you can go check in with those students and see what's up and if they didn't understand the instructions or why it didn't work. So this is a very handy tool. For me, it makes it worth using spreadsheets, even though they're a little bit clunky. The spreadsheet gives you, as the teacher, the live teacher view immediately, which is super nice. You also can go straight to a folder which will contain each of the student spreadsheets if you ever want to just look at them as spreadsheets. You also can click directly through each of these names is actually a link to a document. If you want to see the whole view for a given student, you can do that. So I find this very helpful way of organizing student reflections and self-assessments.